Hi, everyone, and welcome to the University of Washington in Seattle. My name is Jocelyn DeYoung, and I serve as the Senior Associate Director of Admissions for Recruitment and Communications.
Hello, my name is Jaime Soto, and I serve as a director for the Office of Multicultural Outreach and Recruitment.
So at the University of Washington, we offer 180 majors, from new programs like our Applied Math and Real Estate, which start this fall, to our new Data Science minor, which is open to all students. We literally have something for everyone. However, helping students achieve their career goals goes beyond what they study in the classroom. We call it the Husky experience. And throughout their time at the UW, our students are able to immerse themselves outside the classroom by taking advantage of alumni mentors and networks, research opportunities with faculty, over 600 study abroad programs, unique internship opportunities at places like Amazon and Microsoft, and so much more. With over 50,000 students on campus and nearly 1,000 student clubs, the UW offers students a rich and diverse experience unlike any other in the state. All right, so before we dive into our updates for this year, it's important to take a step back and get a general sense of how our holistic review process works. This is a basic understanding that will be really helpful as we address some of those changes that COVID have brought on for you and your students. So at the UW, when we read applications, we assess applicants in two areas: academic preparation and performance, and then their personal qualities and characteristics. Academic preparation and performance is always going to lead the way in the decision making, but it can be broken down into the following areas. We're looking at the rigor of curriculum, grades in the coursework, the senior year schedule, the student's GPA in the context of the courses that they've taken. And we're even looking at which high school they're coming from and some data we have on how students from that particular school has performed at the UW. Then the student is assessed overall in this category. Next, we're looking at non-cognitive variables like essay responses, the cultural statement, activities, awards, other accomplishments, including overcoming adversity, etc. Again, this overall understanding of our holistic review process is going to be really important to understand as we talk about how COVID-19 has changed curriculum, schedules, learning modalities, grading skills, and all of those things that might be impacting admission. Okay, so first let's talk about grading scale changes. Now at the UW, we recognize that schools and districts across the state have adapted to the pandemic in different ways, including changing grading scales to A or incomplete, pass, no pass, for example, credit, no credit. The benefit of the holistic review approach is that we can review each applicant in the context of that change, meaning that students are not advantaged or disadvantaged by the fact that they're receiving passing grades only, as an example. They're also not compared side by side with a student whose grading scale hasn't changed, as another example. We've been receiving a lot of questions about this, so anything you can do to help assure your students that they're not in competition with students in the way that they might think they are would be really helpful. All right, the next big change that we announced on June 11th is that we will no longer require the SAT or ACT for applicants. So beginning with your seniors, the autumn 2021 applicant pool and beyond, test scores will no longer be necessary. Now, students can still send their scores if they wish. However, the application reader will not see the scores when reviewing the file. That means that scores, if provided, will not be a factor in our holistic review. Instead, our plan is to look at scores prior to selecting which applicants are invited to the wait list in case the score is above our middle 50%. In which case, if the score is above the middle 50%, we'll take another look at the file before making final decisions. We haven't done this before, but we anticipate that the number will be very small, and we expect maybe a handful of cases where that does make a difference for the student. You're probably wondering what our profile looks like. For all those details, you can visit admit.uw.edu, or the Higher Ed Handbook also has that information. Jaime, do you want to talk about the extracurricular?
Yeah, thank you, Jocelyn. At the University of Washington, we recognize that your students' extracurricular activities likely changed, and they'll have the opportunity to clarify on their UW application. At the end of June, the coalition profile added an update to include a question about how COVID-19 impacted students. We want students to use this opportunity to tell us more. The question reads as follows. Natural disasters and emergency situations like COVID-19 pandemic have impacted the lives of many students and their families. While entirely optional, students may share information here regarding how any of these events have affected their lives or their family circumstances.
Great. All right, so moving on to some academic updates. So beginning this year, so again, autumn 2021 applicant pool, students who request computer engineering as their first choice major on the admission application will now be considered for direct admission to computer engineering rather than to the College of Engineering. So you might recall a few years ago, we moved to direct to college admission, where any student wanting engineering was put directly into engineering undeclared, and then they took some prerequisite courses and then requested placement. Now, computer engineering will no longer be part of that process, and instead they will go directly into computer engineering, just like a computer science student does. The big takeaway for you and students applying is that they need to be sure to list their first choice major, and if they're open to studying a second choice, they want to list a second choice. However, second choice majors, just to be clear, are not considered for direct admission. All right, so we've gone virtual like everything else in the world, it seems. And while we're not traveling, we're not even in the office right now, we are still available to meet you, your students, your families. Visit our website for more details about upcoming virtual events, college fairs that we're attending virtually, how to schedule an appointment with a counselor. We're also doing something new called Husky Preview Week in October, but this website has all the details on those virtual engagement opportunities.
Multicultural Arts and Recruitment has also gone virtual this fall, and we're excited to share and announce that we're going to have tons of opportunity for your underrepresented students to engage with the University of Washington. We're going to be having more Mondays every Monday starting in mid-September till mid-November, and this is going to be a space for your students to be able to drop in as virtual office hours. We're also going to be having an IDUB conference, which these conferences will be virtual, and we're going to be providing workshops to prepare your students for the UW application process. The IDUB application workshops is another space for your students to drop in virtually to receive assistance with their coalition application. We will also be having community sessions so students can learn about the different communities on campus. And we're also going to be having student ambassador Q&A so our students are able to hear it from a current UW student about their Husky experience. Additional details can be found on our website starting in mid-September. We look forward to engaging with your underrepresented students this fall.
I just have to say, I love alliteration, so more Mondays just rolls off the tongue. All right, well, thank you everyone for watching our updates. We look forward to fielding your questions during the live Q&A session. But in the meantime, if you or your families or students have questions, we are here to assist. So feel free to reach out, and we wish you all a great fall. We'll get through it.
Thank you, everyone.